Welcome to Side Hustle and Main Hustle, brought to you by Latasha Best-Gaddy, owner and chief strategist of Infinity Bridges Incorporated. Today, we're going to talk about how to start or grow a business during a crisis. And one of the key things to remember is that companies that survive or even thrive during the times of a crisis were the ones that kept investing in the effective marketing and marketing research. And this was brought to you by Harvard Business School. So now let me tell you a little bit about me. I am a mompreneur of two teenage entrepreneurs, and I like to consider myself as raising the next generation of entrepreneurs. I am a North Carolina native. I am an alum of North Carolina Central University with the undergraduate degree in bachelor's in business finance and a master's in public administration. I like to consider myself a lifetime learner. I have several different certifications and certificates that really supports the work that I've been doing over the last 20 years of my career. I am a public speaker and facilitator on everything as it relates to entrepreneurship, money management, and accounting industry sectors. In addition to that, I'm a servant leader and a community engager and change maker. And I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and the Order of Eastern Star. Now, let's get into our topic. Today, we're going to spend 20 minutes to really talk about the side hustle and the main hustle. Regardless of where you are and what your goals are, there is going to be something in this 20 minutes for you. So today, let's first start off with the idea of a product or service. So if you're thinking about it, you've got to have something that you want to hustle, whether that is going to be some freelance services, whether that's going to be a part-time operation or a full-time operation. Now, here's just a little tip. There's a great book called The Side Hustle, From Idea to Income in 27 Days. It really goes over a lot of different and great opportunities for you to really be able to say, I can really do this side hustle. Now, if we're thinking about a true side hustle, and you may say, well, what is a side hustle? A side hustle is really something that you're doing and while you're still working your full-time opportunity or working a full-time employment. And also, when you're thinking of a side hustle, typically you may not have a standalone location. You may be doing business online. You may be doing business out of your home, or as we now kind of consider it during COVID, remote working. But whatever it is, keep in mind that there could be a side hustle for you. Now, if you are already doing something and you want that side hustle to change and transfer into your main hustle, and your main hustle is that full-time operation, this is where you're going to be depending on this main hustle to really get you through on a day-to-day. With a main hustle, you can have diverse locations and options and opportunities. There are some things that you've got to consider as tax considerations, liability considerations, but we're going to talk about that. And a great resource for you or a book is The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki. So it's very important to understand no matter whether you're doing a side hustle or a main hustle, we're ready to get the hustle going. So of course, when you're thinking about ideas, I mean, it can range from accounting to web design, lawn care services to cleaning services, computer repair, hair care, child care. I mean, you name it, it can happen. Now, just in the mix of COVID, as we're talking about a crisis, we have seen a large number of people creating masks. And that has definitely been not only a side hustle that has definitely grown into a main hustle, but it has definitely been a hustle worth waiting for. In addition to a mask, we've seen people that were in the alcohol industry have now taken that and pivoted and now are making hand sanitizers. So there are so many great opportunities even in the mix of a crisis. So don't think that you have to wait before you start. Remember, think about what's your skills, what's your talent, what is something that you're good at, And then think about it like this: will somebody buy it? If the answer is yes, then guess what? You may have a her hustle. So today we're going to be going into all the steps and strategies to really start a hustle, whether that is your side hustle or your main hustle. The first thing to think about is, now we've already got an idea. You already know what you want to do. Well, you've now got to think about a name and making sure that you can own and operate that name. What do I mean by that? I'm really talking in terms of, does that name describe that product or service you're offering? Does that name have a meaning to you? And then, if so, does someone else somewhere else own and operate that name? Can you use that name on major social media platforms? Can you have that name where you're actually having a website with that domain name? So now, in order to verify that, there are four main things that you need to do. First, you need to do a trademark search. All of this is free of charge. All you're doing is going to a website, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So USPTO, and then going to there and then searching the name that you want for this business. The second thing that you're doing is also going to the North Carolina Secretary of State site, and then you're doing a business search to make sure, once again, no one else has the exact same name. The third thing that you're doing is what I call an internet search. So whether you're using Google, Bing, MS Explorer, or any other web-based browsers, you're going to do a search on that same business name. Because once again, the worst thing that you want, or the thing that you definitely don't want to happen, or the worst case scenario, is the fact that you fall in love with the name for your business and someone else has it. And then that means you do not have the right to own and operate it. The fourth and final thing to do when you're looking at a name for your hustle is to do a social media search. So that means looking on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Pinterest, and depending on which sites you're going to use, and then searching that exact same name. So now, first step of the game is understanding and making sure that you can own the name in the hustle. The next thing to think about is how you want the business structured. There are various types of what we call legal structures for a business. And I've actually, once again, separated that by the type of hustle that you may be operating. So if it's just you, and everything is going to start and stop with you, and you want to start on a small scale and you're not doing it full time, I definitely would suggest to do a sole proprietor. So for that side hustle, a sole proprietor is going to be just the right hustle for you. Keep in mind, a sole proprietor is owned and operated by one person. This is a for-profit entity. All you have to do is file a certificate of assumed name with your local register of deeds in the county that you live in. When it comes to tax time, it's just like filing your personal taxes. You're just adding on and filing the Schedule C. So just know that everything is based upon you and who you are as the owner and operator of the business. Now, if you have a partner and you still are both doing it part-time, keep in mind we have what we call a general partnership. And that general partnership can also be a great way to form and begin if you're operating as a part-time or what I consider as a side hustle business. So that's two or more people who jointly own and operate the business. And then I do recommend that everyone think about getting a partnership agreement. And then you also would file that certificate of assumed name with your county register of deeds. So now let's talk about the main hustle options. Within the North Carolina laws, the North Carolina Secretary of State allows you to then file whether it's a corporation or a limited liability company. This is now at the main hustle level. So this does give you an added layer of protection for your business. It also gives you a more formalized way to operate the business. So you're now doing this on a full-time basis. Also, this does require you to follow the local, state, and federal laws. There are some tax advantages to that. You do have to file a separate tax return for these type of entities. A corporation will require that you have a board. You could be the board, and you do all of this with the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. And we'll talk a little bit more about the cost and the process. So when you're thinking about whether you're trying to do a side hustle or a main hustle, and maybe budgetary constraints are an issue. So once again, if you're thinking about starting out as a side hustle, then you're filing a sole proprietor or a general partnership, as I mentioned before, and you're doing this with your local county register of deeds office. The cost of filing a certificate of assumed name is $26. Now, if you want to get to the main hustle and you're trying to do a corporation or an LLC or limited liability company, then you're filing that with the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. The cost for filing is $125. The Secretary of State does have some annual fees for a corporation and a limited liability company. So these things are what's required in order to go from a side hustle and operate or as a main hustle. Once these things are done, then you're going to file what we call the employer identification number, and or EIN. And this cost is free and done with the Internal Revenue Service. Now you may say, why do I need all of this? I want you to think about it in the terms of you are birthing a business. So this hustle is something that is new and that you are birthing. And in the process of when a person is giving birth to a child, once that child is here, there are two legal documents that everybody must have. One is a birth certificate, and the second is a social security number. And so if you think about it, this documents for your business structure, whether it's the certificate of assumed name or articles of organization, that's your birth certificate for the business. That EIN or employer identification number, that's that social security number for your business. So keep in mind, every business needs to have those two key documents to really be in operation. Now that you've got those key foundational things, now you take those documents and then establish what we call a business bank account. Now, let me just say to everyone, it is key and essential that you do not keep personal and business finances together. So it is so important that you make sure that you separate your business finances from your personal. I don't mind that you transfer money from your business account to your personal account, but do not pay personal bills out your business account and do not pay business bills out your personal account. So this is the thing. You need a business bank account. Here are a few tips. There are several different types of financial institutions that you may be able to open accounts with for your business bank account. One, you always want to build a relationship wherever you're currently banking. So if you're currently banking with any of the national, what I consider as national financial institutions, which is Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Fifth Third, and so on, then definitely go and look at what they have to offer and making sure that that's the right type of account for you and your business. Next, if you are more community or local friendly, or that's something that you care about, then you may want to look at First Citizens, M&F Bank, Coastal Federal Credit Union, BB&T, some of the more local or regional banks. Once again, it is your preference. If you are very tech savvy, then there are what we call fintech companies or fintech institutions or financial technology institutions, which means that they may not have a physical location. Everything they do is online. So that could be like Alzo, PayPal, Square, and a lot of your online or fintech companies. Now, it really doesn't matter which financial institution that you go to, but what does matter is what are the minimum deposits that they are requiring you to keep in that account at all times? Will you have enough so that you won't incur fees? What other fees do they assess on those accounts? How many number of transactions per 30 days can you do without it being an additional fees? And then, is this a financial institution that can grow with you? Do they really care about the type of business that you're in? Do they have any experience with that? And how can you build a customer relationship with that bank? And we'll look at it a little bit further, but it's very important to understand and to get to know a business banker. Next, you want to definitely have a business accounting system. And there are several ways to do that. But one way that I don't want you to do is have pen and paper or keep it all receipts in a shoebox. I want you to make sure you have some type of electronic system. Even if you do have receipts, we are now in the day and age where you can actually scan receipts. You can take pictures of receipts to be able to keep them in an electronic way to go back and cross-reference. Now, when you're talking about accounting systems, it can be as simple as easy as using spreadsheets. So you could use Excel, Google Sheets. Those are very acceptable. Just making sure you keep up with how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and then if you have a net profit or net loss at the end of that period. If you're not, if you wanted to use something a little bit more advanced, there are several great accounting system resources out there. Some examples are QuickBooks, Wave Accounting, Zero Accounting, Zoho Books, FreshBooks Accounting. In addition, it also can depend on the type of industry sector you're in. So if your industry sector has a very specific accounting software, then it's really important that you may spend the money on that particular software, because that will also save you time, money, energy, and effort. And so you also want to make sure you're able to do that. Now that we've got those things, the next thing to think about is business insurance. So when you're thinking about business insurance, I'm not just talking about, we are talking in terms of health insurance, we're talking in terms of disability insurance. We also are talking about general liability insurance for the business, professional insurance, workers' compensation insurance, bonding insurance, errors and omissions or malpractice type insurance. These insurance helps protect you personally as well as the business. In the event something does go wrong, once again, insurance is to try to mitigate risk and try to help offset any costs that may incur. So you definitely want to make sure that you have the right insurance for your business and your industry sector when it's needed. Now, this is kind of what I call the fun part, which is now we've got all of the foundation things, but now we need to be able to drive customers to our business. You need to be able to let people know what's your product, what's your service, and then not only how can I purchase it and what ways can I then pay you for it. So of course, marketing and branding is essential to any business. So that includes your logo, your website, your letterhead. There's also some great resources, once again, to keep your startup costs as low as possible. So there are some freelance sites like Fiverr or Upstart that will definitely help you with your logo, website branding, and all of those great things. In addition, you can also do it yourself. There's some great websites like GoDaddy, Wix, WordPress, Square, and so on that can definitely help you with that as well. You also, if you're selling products, can go straight to online retail resources like Shopify, Etsy, and eBay. And there's so many more, but I'm just wanting to give you just enough so that you can see, no matter whether you're doing a side hustle or a main hustle, you can make sure that that marketing is directed towards your business so that you can generate revenue. Now, once you've got those things together, then you also got to make sure you have your good digital marketing strategy. So what I mean by that is now you got to know who your customer is and what marketing or social media platforms that they're on. And in order to do that, you want to make sure that you are reaching your customer. So that means whether or not you need to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, or LinkedIn, or all of them, but being able to do that. There's always little tips. So here's a tip. There are software programs that will allow you to schedule your marketing, your digital marketing campaigns, and sending out messages and your branding. So you may want to look at a marketing tool like later.com, Zapier, Hootsuite, but these are all programs and software that will help you with really kind of putting that together, but then also scheduling it out. Now, we have definitely put a lot into this 20 minutes in terms of that side hustle as well as that main hustle. But regardless, just like with anything, you need you a good business bail of advisors. And when I talk about bails, that B.A.L.L.S stands for B, business banker. Remember when I talked about opening that business account? It's really important for you to know that you've got a good relationship with a banker, someone that understands your business, someone that understands your industry, and they can help grow and expand with you. And talk about all the different types of banking product that your business can do. A, accountant, CPA, or bookkeeper, someone in the accounting industry, accounting professional that can really help you and your business not only manage and maintain your books, but also making sure you're filing if you need to pay quarterly taxes, if you need to do yearly taxes to make sure it is all relevant for you. We talked about that insurance agent. So talking about that insurance, there are various types of insurances. So you need to make sure that you have the right insurance for your business and at the right levels of insurance for protection. So having a great insurance agent is going to definitely help your business in the right place. L, a lawyer, having the right legal counsel, someone that can help with contracts, someone that can help review any legal documentations or help you kind of make any decisions that you need in the event that there are some legal actions that may need to go forward. And then last but definitely not least, service providers. Service providers are these business counselors that provide one-on-one confidential counseling to business owners. And currently, the Small Business Administration and the state of North Carolina, there are several different types of organizations. That is one that's funded by the Small Business Administration is SCORE, which provides a mentoring service. Small Business and Technology Development Center, which are located on all of your university campuses that provide services to help you grow and expand. And then there's the Women's Business Centers of that, and there are 4 in North Carolina that will help you really walk through the process to really look at where you are, where you want to be, and help you put a strategy to get there. And then last but not least, definitely on all of your community college campuses are small business centers. And what they are able to do is to really not only provide you with training and resources, but also that same one-on-one counseling and match you with a subject matter expert. So once again, these are your business bails advisors, and they're here to really help you bail you out of trouble in the event that you need them. So, of course, I told you I only had 20 minutes to really talk about how to get your hustle on and start your business. But I do want to just recap a lot of the things that we said. So, of course, this is what I call the business hustle startup steps. And we started with understanding and finding out where your skills, talents, knowledge, ability, and what you really have an interest in, and really taking that and creating a product and service. And then from taking that, you're going to create a business name. And then you're going to make sure that you're able to operate that name on all of your platforms. And then from there, you're going to build and start your legal structure. And you're going to depend on that, whether you want to do a side hustle or a main hustle. It's a matter about just getting the hustle in. And then remember, we talked about 2 things, having a business birth certificate and a business social security card. So that legal structure is your business birth certificate. and your EIN is that business social security card. And then we talked about those B.A.L.L.S, right? So having that business bank account, so business banker, having those business accounting systems, business insurance, and working with an insurance agent, and then making sure that people can know who you are, where you are, how to access your products or services, and how to pay for it, which is that marketing and branding. And then at the end of the day, your business is here to generate revenue. So it's so important to make sure that you're able to generate revenue for that business. So now let's talk about the hustle begins. So I thank you for your time today. I thank you for tuning in to talk about the side hustle and the main hustle as we did this 20-minute hour of power in terms of her conference 2020. If you want to connect with me, once again, my name is Latasha Besgatti. I'm the Chief Strategist of Infinity Bridges, and you can connect with me via my website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or you can send me an email. And if you're interested in my services, you can book me by going to calendly.com/LB Thank you again, and I definitely appreciate you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing how you get your hustle on.